Hello, welcome to your daily December download, and I didn't think I'd actually make another video about Percy Jackson this month, but here I am. So I'm going to be talking about episode 3, which was actually pretty interesting, which is why I wanted to talk about it today. Don't mind the Ghost of Tsushima footage. I had to stream it. I didn't have time to download the full game onto my console, so there might be some breakup. It's not your computer, it is definitely me. But anyway, so I I watched the episode with my girlfriend today, and I think they're doing some interesting stuff with the adaptation. They're doing stuff in the order of things are happening in the way that they happen in the books, in the same order, but they're not happening the exact same way. And they're really abusing the fact that we can see outside of Percy's perspective, which I really respect. The books are locked to Percy's first-person perspective. If Percy doesn't know something, you don't know something. And I think the angle that they're going with is with adapting these things that happen in the book just to make them a little bit more entertaining in a TV show format is really smart. Unlike in the book, when they got on the bus and fought the Furies, they did not blow it up. But in the trade-off for blowing it up is that we also got a scene where Annabeth was able to confront the Furies because now Rick Riordan has the forethought of Thalia and all the other stuff that happened in the later books that never really got mentioned until book 2 because it didn't become important until book 3. The series didn't have all this stuff fully thought out. Now it does, so now it is really leaning on those plot points so they could pay off in later seasons. So I respect that. That's something that I expect from a writer who now has the knowledge of their full story in mind. Instead of making things up as they go, you get to reincorporate stuff in at an earlier date. So having Annabeth actually talk to the Furies because they have personal beef because of the Thalia thing, that's pretty cool. And also setting up the main conflict, having Annabeth and Percy fighting the whole episode was a good idea, because in the book it's kind of stretched out, but like the book it's kind of happens where she's really nice to Percy and then really mean to Percy and then really nice again afterwards, you know, with the seaweed brain stuff, but like endearingly mean and nice, you know, like it's like things start happening later in the book once they get to after they get out of Las Vegas. But at this point in time, they decided to go with they genuinely do not like each other right now. But, and I like it that Percy likes Annabeth less than Annabeth likes him. Annabeth obviously is headstrong, just like she was in the book. She's the smartest person in the room, and she feels she's the smartest person in the room, and she knows she's the smartest person in the room, which is accurate to the books. That's who she was, that's who she is. It's like, but I like that they made that clash more, and have Grover be stuck in the middle of it, because these two people don't know each other. They don't have a good relationship. They don't have anything foundational to work on. And I like the little tidbit that he brought Annabeth, because in the books, he brought Annabeth, it's like in the books. Well, actually, let me do a general summary of the episode now that I'm deep into it. Sorry for this is kind of haphazard, but yeah, basically, Percy and Annabeth and Grover, they go off on the adventure. They head out to this. It's like they head out to the to go west to the underworld. Percy got a prophecy from the Oracle, and the Oracle tells him basically go west, but also that a friend is going to betray him. It's like a friend is going to betray him, and he's not going to be able to say what matters most. So he decides to take Annabeth, who he feels that he could never be friends with, so she wouldn't betray him, and that he would take Grover, because at least there's one person that he can trust to have his back. So that's the reason he chose them. In the book, he chose Annabeth because she kind of forced her way into it, because she wanted to go on the quest anyway. And he chose Grover because Grover insisted on not messing up again, because he feels that he messed up, so he needed to go again. So like it was a little bit more insistent, but here it was more in Percy's control, and I really like that, the giving Percy a little bit more agency here in this part of the story, but also taking that agency away by having Annabeth take control of the full quest, because, you know, she feels she's the smartest person in the room, and she also So it leads to them butting heads a lot, because it's the main character versus someone who's trying to lead the group, even though he feels that that shouldn't be the case. So it's like, so that happens, and the Furies, the furries that are the underworld guards, you know, they're chasing them, and they chase them to a bus. They escape the bus, they run into the woods, and then they find Auntie M's place, which in the book was a slow burn reveal of, oh, it's Medusa, but I guess Rick Riordan felt that it would actually be too obvious nowadays that, oh yeah, it's Medusa, like, and we would be screaming as the audience, oh my god, it's Medusa. So Annabeth literally figures out it's Medusa in like 2 seconds. They get there, it's like, Auntie M's, I wonder what the M stands for. Like, they knew it was Medusa from day one, and it's like, and that's really good, and that led to a lot more organic tension in the scene of not, oh, how are they, it's like, are they gonna figure out it's Medusa? They did figure out Medusa, but they didn't really have much options at the time. So it's like, and Percy took control, and like they went inside, and that was an interesting thing. And I also like the bit where when they're in Auntie M's, you know, discussing like Greek history and stuff, you know, fun stuff. A fun thing that happens is that Auntie M basically is like Medusa basically offers Percy that she can get rid of the friends, just like how Annabeth was offered by the Fury that she can just take Percy. And the thing is, that's a good conflict to show both of their characters, so we know as the audience where their true loyalties lie. Immediately when they're offered that, they disappear and go help their friends. Annabeth runs off and tells them that they need to run. Percy runs off and runs off and hides with his friends immediately. Even though even though they they seem to be at odds, they seem to have enough morality good to make them still likable. The fact that Annabeth didn't betray Percy and Percy didn't betray Annabeth and Grover makes them likable even though they're fighting, and it leads to a head when Grover actually blows up at them and tries to get them to shut up. And it leads to so when they, you know, eventually beat Medusa in a very PG way, it's different how they did it in the book, but also I understand why they did it that way. They kind of try to keep that PG rating. There's only so many ways you could cut off someone's head in a very PG format. So they cut off her head by putting on the invisible cap that Annabeth has, and which, that's great, and like then they cut off her head there so they can't look at her, which is actually really clever, which is even more clever than how they did it in the book. So I rock with it. That was a really good change. And then they kill the Fury with the invisible Medusa head, and it's like effortless, and the characters even mentioned that it was effortless that they killed it with a Medusa head. And it was great. And then Annabeth and Percy get a little bit closer. They get to be on the same page, and Grover gets to have a little bit more of a backbone and like get them to answer the questions that they need to be asked, to say the unsaid. And Percy sends the Medusa head to Olympus, and that's how the episode ends. And I think this was a great way of not adapting the source material, but adapting the source material. And I think this is something that can only really come about if you really understand what the point of the original story was. The Auntie M and the bus thing was to show, oh, this stuff is gonna go wrong real quick, and we're gonna be messing with a lot of different things. The movie just made it where like it was a mandatory thing to go there in the first place, which was stupid because they changed the whole plot to be the Pearl thing instead of just a simple road trip to the other end of the U.S. Which, you know, hell is the underworld is in LA. Funny. I will never get tired of that joke. But it's trying its best to adapt the source material in a way that is accurate but not. It's adapting the spirit of the material instead of the material itself. Because if the material itself was adapted, it would be kind of a weird paced episode. There would be a giant explosive action, or a quick action scene where the bus explodes, and that's a huge thing. And then we have to deal with the Percy being a fugitive storyline that I guess they're not really gonna go for in this show. Like, they might go for it, I don't know. We gotta wait till the St. Louis fight, but like there was a whole bit in the book where he was a fugitive, which really didn't really amount to anything besides him clearing his name at the end of the book, and they came up with a whole story about it. So it's like, you could cut that plot line and it wouldn't really change the story too much, so I'm okay if they cut it. But they might also still adapt it just later on with Ugliano doing his thing. But yeah, no. So like it's like it would be the bus explodes and they go to Auntie M's and then they get tricked for like for like 10-15 minutes, and then they would just solve the problem and like do it immediately, and then like get out of there and then start heading to St. Louis. It would be a kind of unsatisfactory episode because there wouldn't be an arc. In the episode, Percy and Annabeth and Grover all have a complete arc. They end the episode in a different place than they were at the start, and that reformatting was very, very clever, and I respect it. I respect changing the source material if you're going to change it for a different medium, or to enhance it in some way because you have future knowledge. And I think that they did a really good job doing that, adding some extra tension, adding some extra stakes, but also making the characters seem less dumb in some areas. And this has been a really good adaptation so far. Again, the child acting is still the worst part. The adults are doing a pretty good job. The Medusa's actress, she did a pretty good job of selling that sweet, but that vengeful anger that's like right underneath it. I felt it. It was great. It was great. It was great. It was great. But Grover's actor is trying his best, I think, and Percy did a really good job at the start of the episode where he had to do like a sneaky emotion where like it's flipping back to like I don't know if that's the editing room or his acting, but like it felt good. Like there was like an emotion that I really felt. So I'm looking forward to it. This adaptation. Maybe I'll cover it weekly in the future. Episode 4 comes out Tuesday, so I might just record my thoughts on it again with more Ghost of Tsushima footage. But yeah, no, I think this adaptation is doing a great job while not being accurate. But still being accurate, it's so hard to explain. The same things are happening in the exact same order, but completely differently than they happened in the book, but in a way where the spirit is still captured. That's what I gotta say about that. And tomorrow is the last day of Daily Download December, and I think I know what I'm gonna say. I think it's gonna be a retrospective of what happened this year with Daily Download December, and I'll try to get that out before midnight. See you guys tomorrow for the last day of this silly make a video thing that I did.